Hey everyone, welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Becoming a Fulfillionaire show. This entire season is going to be really awesome. I have this idea to bring on all of the guests to talk about their, what I call, 2 seconds of courage moments in their life. A lot of the times when we're in, say like a holding pattern where things aren't changing or we're in a downward spiral, I find that we have this energy that builds up over time that eventually wants to explode out of us. Usually the gateway, though, is a 2 seconds of courage moment where you're very scared, you're very fearful, but you start to get an inkling of what you need to do to blast out of that change. And today's guest is Ashley Ringaman. I've actually known her for like 11 years, and I haven't been able to stop laughing for the last 10 minutes as we've been getting set up for this interview. So forgive me for any outbursts of joy and laughter during this. But Ashley has several great stories around these moments that I wanted to extract out of her so that you could hear it, she could share it, and then maybe it could inspire you to do something amazing or courageous with your own life. So welcome to the show, Ashley. And Ashley currently is living in Colorado Springs, which might not be a surprise post-pandemic, but she actually made that move pre-pandemic. And before that, I had actually spent a week with Ashley in Essex, Montana. And Ashley and I played in a cribbage tournament where the median age of the players was probably 74. And we did get our butts handed to us, by the way. They were amazing cribbage players. And Ashley's just always sort of been like a mountain country girl that's been waiting to get out. And in the last few years, she's really done it. And she's had a lot of amazing stories along the way, going from a place, the Twin Cities in Minnesota, which is a pretty big metropolitan area. And in that lifestyle with her family and friends to moving to this slower lifestyle where she does not participate on social media, any of that stuff, but she's a graphic designer. So it's a really interesting story, and we're going to pull some of those nuggets out today for you so that you can get inspired. Kind of set the stage for me on this first 2 seconds of courage moment that we're going to get into. What was your life going to be? So like what did you envision when you were going to art school, and what did you think life was going to be like? Kind of just set me up with what was the dream that you had. Okay. Because that led you to this point, right?
Yeah, so that's back even further than I was thinking we would chat about. So all my stories could be long, but I'll try and keep it short. So with that, like going to college for advertising and graphic design, where I went to school was the Art Institute of Minnesota, which actually I don't even think that it's there anymore. But anyways, it was a tough school. Like I went and thought, oh, I'm going to an art school. Things will be so easy. Like this will be great. I'll just get done and I'll get out and I'll start working. It was a really tough school. I did not enjoy it at all. And so then I was like, crap, did I choose, like the right career path or not? But I think part of what I didn't like, which is kind of funny because I guess it's true to today, how I still feel about the industry and, social media and all this stuff, but it was that the instructors really, really pushed you to, from my experience, believe that if you did not work at one of the big advertising agencies in downtown Minneapolis, you basically were crap. Like you were no good. It wasn't like you weren't going to be successful if you worked at a little mom and pop shop, or if you started your own business, or if you worked for like a print company or something. It was like, no, you need to work at like Carmichael Lynch or like Campbell Methune, just any of the big agencies. So I took it upon myself to go and basically job shadow or do, like I did a ton of informational interviews at like Periscope and Fame and all of these different marketing advertising agencies downtown to see like, was that what I really wanted to do? Because supposedly I'm crap if I don't. Like that's the way that it made me feel, whether that was intentional, by professors or not. And so I went and I did a lot of interviews, and there was not one place that I thought, I want to work here. I would love to do this, because from what I saw and what I heard from the employees, and I was interviewing with like creative directors at these places, art directors, like they were top dogs at these places, and they would tell me, oh yeah, like we have a game floor, you know, which is really cool. And I'd be like, oh, why do you have that is cool, but why do you have a game floor? And it was always because like, well, we're so stressed out that we need something to like take our minds off of projects sometimes, and so then we'll go to the game floor. But then I'd be like, okay, well, like how often do you use that? And then they'd be like, well, we don't because we're so busy. And then there was a drink cart that would go around every day with alcohol, and they had the drink cart that would go around because that like made people, I think, just feel better about being so busy and stressed out. And they thought like, oh, we'll just give you some drinks and it'll be like, you know, send around the drink cart on Fridays or, you know, whatever. I don't know if they do it just towards like the end of the days or whatnot, but there was that. There were some places that literally had like a little fitness room, places that had cots that you could sleep on to like stay the night. One of the creative directors that I interviewed with had a cot in her office because she said when there are deadlines and you're there until like 2 a.m. to try and get it done, she's like, then I just sleep in my office. And all of this stuff, like it wasn't just one company, it was like multiple of them. And this was back in 2009, so I guess things, you know, could be different now. I doubt it.
Probably more intense
they
is my
could
guess.
Be. Yeah, and so, you know, I think I sort of had a little bit of a panic moment then once I was getting to graduating, because I was like, well, where am I going to apply then? Because all these places, even if it's a smaller agency, they're still functioning on like, oh yeah, we grind and we're like big hustlers and, you know, all this stuff. And I was just like, God, like, can't we just work smart so that we don't have to, you know, like just be working these crazy long hours and we don't have to be so stressed out about these deadlines and whatever. And it just seemed like that was not the case at anywhere that I was interviewing. So I guess in my mind, to what you said before, this did end up getting long, I imagined that I was going to start out as like a junior art director. I was going to work my way up within one of these companies to be a creative director and someday like lead a large design team or a large creative team. And I was like, God, it's going to be so cool. I'm going to make 6 figures and I'll just be able to like help be a leader and like help these people with their career paths, and I'll just love that and it'll be so fun, and I get to see all this different design stuff and go to photo shoots and help art direct photo shoots and this and that. And yeah, I mean, I ended up getting into I did start out with like smaller mom and shop type of places because I was like, that's more so where I feel my personality fitting in and having a work-life balance. Some of the stuff I really did not enjoy, and some of it was awesome, but the things that I didn't enjoy, I truly did appreciate because it allowed me to figure out what I did and did not want to do, and things that I was okay with and things that I wasn't, as far as just like what are our values and morals and what is, you know, like this saying about us. And so I think all of it helped me to like take a leap and do what I did and start my own business. I mean, I just learned a ton throughout the way. I think I worked for 7 years. Yeah, I think I worked for 7 years, like, at different companies before I started my own business. And real quick, when I was in college, starting my own business was something that I had dreamed of, but was like, I guess I don't know if I'll ever do that, because nobody talks about starting your own business. You're just supposed to, like, go and work at this like Target corporate or one of these big, you know, ad agencies, just these like what you would consider fancier, you know, cool places. Otherwise, like, you're never going to be known. No one's going to think of you, you know, whatever. And so you're just like, oh shit, but I don't want to do that. You know, like, I don't like these work cultures. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So then bring me up to, let's call it the month before you made the decision, and walk me through like what your life was like on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Okay. So, Well, really, the catalyst that drove me to like make that decision was a huge breakup that crushed me, and I've talked to you like all about that, so you know about that. But that, I feel like when I look back at it now, it makes me smile because it feels so good to look back at who I was at that time, what my life was like, and to look at where I'm at now. And I know I'm still gonna grow a ton. I'm 31 years old. I'm still very, very young, but I'm like, God, the Ash then was so lost, so incredibly lost in who I was, in what I wanted to do with my life. And so now I look back on it as like a complete blessing that everything happened the way that it did, because I'm like, God, I would have never experienced, you know, all this stuff that I've experienced now, which has been so cool in the last like 4 years. But yeah, so basically I was an art director working at a design agency in Minneapolis. It was a web design agency. I did not like it. Even a little bit. I didn't like it at all. I did not like the culture that was there, and I didn't like my daily job duties. And the funny thing is that was the highest level position that I was ever at in a career, working in-house for somebody on a design team. So I was an art director and a creative director there. So I led the design team there. The thing that I thought in college, oh, this is like a dream, this is what I want to do, I want to lead a team. I hated it. I hated managing a team. I hated having to like look at people. Like, I didn't realize everything that would come with it. Like, oh, PTO, and looking at people's schedules. And then when employees have conflicts and you need to be the person that helps resolve that if they can't resolve it, you know, on their own. There was just so much stuff that came into it that I was like, dang, you know, I didn't expect this. And now like that has pulled so much of my actual design skills away from me. And now I'm just having to be essentially like a manager and then pitching all of these web design concepts to the client. But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the work. And so I felt incredibly unfulfilled. I don't know how to describe it other than that. I felt incredibly unfulfilled. My personal life felt like it was just absolutely crumbling. And I just wasn't happy. And I think it took that breakup really for me to like snap out of it and to just like kind of unveil or like lift the shield of like what was actually in front of me and what was life to me, like what did I want to do with my life. And so, you know, I don't know if I would have started my own business ever if that wouldn't have happened, or if I would have and it just would have been years later, you know. But I think it's like so perfect, the timing of it and the way that it worked out. Like now I've been in business for like 3.5 years, and I freaking love it. Like I would never trade this to work, you know, back at any of the places that I was at before. And some of those places were fun, and I met amazing people, and I had some really great experiences, but this is just beyond, you know, any of that.
Do you remember, for me, in a lot of these moments of courage, it was like a huge buildup, like you're saying, where you're really like seeing everything sort of unravel. Mm-hmm. But there's still like so much of you that wants to claw to like what you know and what's familiar. And there's usually like one particular moment where you did something that you cannot take back that has to change everything. Do you remember what that moment was for you in this?
God. Well, I mean, I would say that part of it for me, and I think I've talked to you about this before, like I've always been a person that like I would say like, oh yeah, I've always had faith and I've always believed that like something is greater, you know, out there, whether it be God or the universe or something greater that's like watching out, you know, for me and gonna make sure that I'm okay. So I mean, going through that experience, through that breakup, and, you know, in my mind it was like one of those things, and I'm sure a lot of other people that will watch this have felt this way with somebody that they've been in a relationship with, that you're like, yeah, that's the person I'm gonna marry. I can, like, picture my house, I can picture future kids. Like, I had done all of that, I had pictured it, we had talked about, you know, lots of that stuff. And so then for it to just be gone, it was like, what? Like literally, how do I even breathe? Like, how do I go on every day? It was such a crazy, crazy thing to have happen at such a, you know, it was completely unexpected for me. And so I think that moment that you're talking about was almost, I feel like me finally, for the first time in my life, being like, okay, whatever you are, here I am, and do whatever you want with me. Like, I just want to be happy again, and I want to feel like I know myself again, and like know that I'm gonna have a good life and that everything is gonna be okay. So whatever, I literally remember saying, whatever you want me to do, if you want me to move, and this is like the Britney thing, I don't know if this is on this recording, but when I was like, oh yeah, I almost went full Britney and thought like maybe I should just shave my head and I'll go be a monk, you know, somewhere and do like an Elizabeth Gilbert thing, you know, like Eat, Pray, Love, her book. But yeah, I think that's what it was for me, if that makes sense, that I was just like, all right, like I am no longer in control of my life, and I can feel that with like every part of my being, but I can also see that I am clearly not in control, because this stuff, like, I hated my job, my relationship just was kaput, you know, and it was just like, what is there? Like, I have my family, and that's amazing, and they're absolutely incredible, and that's how I got through everything. But it really, I think, was that moment of me letting go and not giving up, but I feel like for the first time giving up my control, I guess, like to something else that I can't see, you know, but I was just like, all right, let's do this. Like, I guess we're gonna do it, so let's do it. And I would say there's a lot of people that thought I was out of my mind for quitting a full-time job as an art director, making the most money that I had ever made, you know, at that point in my life, the best title, you know, that I had ever had at that point in my life, for as far as like resumes go and whatever. But yeah, I would say that was the moment. And so when that happened, when I had that feeling of like, okay, I believe in you, like I trust you, whatever this is and whatever you're gonna do with my life, whatever you have planned for me, I'm just giving it all to you, and I know that this is gonna be okay. And from like that point, there was no going back to like what you said. There was no me being like, just kidding, universe or God or, you know, whatever, like I'm gonna take that back and I'm gonna control my life. It was just like, I can't, and I don't know how to explain it, but it's like once I had that feeling that I truly believed, and I think I got to that point of truly believing because I felt like I was at my ground zero. Like that was, you know, the worst place that I had been in. And so it was just like, I don't know. I was like, well, clearly I'm not doing a very good job of controlling my own life. So here you go, you deal with it. Let's see what you can do. And it's been really freaking cool. So
yeah, what did you do the day after that? Like, where did you start?
The day after I had that feeling, or the day after I quit?
The day after you quit.
Yeah, I went and saw you.
The day after?
It was. Yes.
Oh my God, what did we do?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what did I do? Was this one? Yeah, so you were living with Kyle.
In LA?
Yes. And I came and you were like, I think you paid for me to fly there too, I want to say. Because I think you were like, hey, I'm working on this thing, which I don't even know what it was, because honestly, we did absolutely nothing pertaining to like you needing my design help whatsoever. But it was like Kyle was working on a business, or you both were, and you were like, yeah, we want like kind of a logo and some apparel, ideas and whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, I can totally do that. And you were like, yeah, we'll pay you by flying you here, and then you can just stay with us, and we'll take you around and do like all this cool stuff, show you our favorite restaurants, like sightseeing, whatever. And I was like, sounds freaking awesome, because part of the reason that I was starting my own business was to be able to make my own schedule so that I could travel more and just have like more feel good, life experiences. And it was literally like the next day. We planned it, I think, like a couple days before or something, and you were like, yeah, I'll just buy you a ticket. And you bought me a round trip ticket. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And picked me up, and you were like, you did it! How do you feel? And I was like, I feel so great right now. Like, this is amazing. I was like, I'm in LA. I've never been here before.
Okay. So pro tip, make a bunch of entrepreneur friends that are super hypey, and then you'll be fine once you quit.
Yeah. Apparently. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally what I did. I went and hung out with you guys for 3 days, I think.
Wow, what an I'm gonna take the fact that it was me out of the picture, but like, what an incredible setup to like, what a confidence boost to go right into like your own business, to immediately fly to somewhere like LA from Minnesota, probably in the winter, because the winter is almost all of the year in Minnesota.
It was in September.
Yeah, so like a decent time of year in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And to fly to LA and then do all of that.
No, it was incredibly amazing. And I remember, so I don't even know if you want me to talk about this or not, but I'll just say it quick. I remember telling so many people what I was going to do, and telling my family before, I did it, and some friends before I did it, just to tell them like, hey, I know that I've been like really depressed, and here's what I'm gonna do, and I'm trying to like get my life back together and feel good again and feel like myself, and sort of like rediscover who is this 27 year old Ashley, because I hadn't been by myself in so many years that I just felt like I had lost myself, and so I was just really looking forward to whatever this new journey was gonna bring. And like I said, I was not looking back. It was just like, nope, I'm only looking forward. I'm only having positive thoughts about this. I just feel so good about it, even though I have no idea what's about to happen. Like, I don't know the first thing about running a business. I've never made a business plan. Mind you, I'm almost 4 years in and still don't have a business plan, so you don't need one, in my opinion. But there were so many people that I talked to that were like, gosh, this might not be the right time, because you're, kind of depressed, and you're going to have to be like finding clients, and how are you going to find clients and feel like talking to people when you're sad, and all this stuff. And I remember my mom saying like, but you don't have any clients, so how will you work for yourself? Like, what will you do? On like day one, like you open up your computer, and then what do you do? And I literally remember I was standing in her kitchen, and I just looked at her, and I had the biggest smile on my face, and I was like, I don't know. And she's like, and she was so concerned, and she's like, but how are you gonna make money and pay your bills? She's in accounting. And I was like, I don't know, Mom, but I just know that this is the right thing to do. I feel so good about it, and I'll tell you right now that I am very unhappy. And so there's no way that what I do is going to make me any more unhappy than where I'm at right now. Worst case scenario, I kept telling everybody, because it kind of surprised me how many people were like poo-pooing the idea. We're just like, I don't think that this is going to be good. Everybody, that I would tell that acted that way or had that response, I was like, literally the worst case scenario is that I start applying to full-time jobs again. And there's nothing wrong with that, So it was just like, why not give this a shot? Yeah, I don't even know what you asked me, but I was just so glad that I did.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been really cool.
So let me ask you then, for other people that are facing similar situations, what do you think would be some thoughts or some quotes or some things that they like? What would Ashley have liked to hear Because you said that you didn't really know anyone who had gone and started their own design business, right? Or creative business for that matter,
well,
right?
I knew one. So I actually met her, one of my greatest friends now too, met her, funny enough, through Instagram, even though I'm not on Instagram anymore and don't, I don't like social, as you know. But I met her, and I had chatted with her. Actually, she was like a major mentor and help for me to start. So that was kind of the big thing. And
so how did you get connected, and why do you think she helped you?
well, I know why she helped me. She's phenomenal. But got connected through me literally following her on Instagram because I liked her, just her designs that she would post and the little messages behind what she had to say. I just always felt like they were really like empowering and encouraging and cute. Like I just liked the designs, and I felt like her and I had a similar, kind of aesthetic or whatever. I almost hate to say that word, but just, similar types of people, similar thought process, whatever. And I had reached out to her probably 2-3 years before I even ever started my own business and said, hey, I love what you do. I'm a fellow designer. At that time I said I actually work at Lifetime as a designer in-house at their corporate office, but I said I've always thought it would be cool to run my own business and was just curious if I could take you out for coffee and just kind of pick your brain on how you do that. Like, how do you run your own business? And I did. She wrote me back and was like, absolutely yes. Like, took her out for coffee. And then we literally just kept talking, and it was through email for a while, and then I think eventually we exchanged phone numbers, and we started going on like walks together and just like actually hanging out, and it was like, God, this chick is cool, like this is fun, just to like get together with somebody, like make a new friend, but also be able to just talk about life, that's like my favorite thing. Like, she's been immensely helpful even to this day for my business whenever I run into questions or like sticky situations where I'm like, hey, I think I need to fire a client for the first time and that's really scary. Like, what would you do in this situation? And whatever. It's like nice to have a mentor or somebody that knows what you're going through to chat through that with. But as far as the actual like business planning and like how did I create a proposal and how do I create an invoice and send out contracts and draft a contract and what all needs to be in there, all of that stuff, you just figure it out, I guess. Like, if it's something that you really want to do, you just figure it out. And I asked her, I asked another designer that I knew that kind of had her own side business doing graphic design, but I mean, Google's like my best friend, for all of that stuff. Like, you just do end up figuring it out. And I would say Olivia, that's my friend who I met, she's just been immensely helpful, and I know that she did it because she's such a good, kind-hearted person, and she did not have anybody that would help her when she started her own business. She's talked to me and other people about this a lot, where she's like, I vowed to be an open book about how I price out projects, how I do this and that, how she runs her entire business from the ground up, because she would ask other designers that she really looked up to when she was going to start her own business, and all of them would just say, oh, just Google it, or oh, just do this. Nobody would give her a straight answer or help her or say, like, here's my contract, why don't you just take it and then you can change some of the verbiage that you need to, where it's like, she did that stuff for me, and so I've done that, and paid it forward to other designers. So what you're
saying is, if anyone here is watching, for sure, you would help.
And send them my email. Don't go on social because I'm not on there, but send them my email.
Cannot find Ashley on social. Actually,
no, I know. Won't respond.
Can you send them your fax number? Is that a thing? Is that too techie for you?
So funny.
We've got ravens.
My pager
We've got
number?
Ravens. Like owls from Harry Potter.
Yeah, send me an owl.
Yeah.
God, I wish that were a real thing, because no joke, that is what I would do.
That would be really cool.
I would, for sure. I would.
Yeah. How many owls would you keep, right? Because you'd need to one to just go back and forth with your mom, right?
Yeah.
One with your siblings, like each sibling. You'd have a lot of owls. That would be really fun.
Gosh, it would be so cool.
Okay, anyways, thank you so much, Ashley, for coming on and sharing your story. And when people fall in love with you and they do want to learn more or read more, do you have like a gallery, or do you have anything that they can go and look at?
I mean, you could go on Instagram. I don't know, the last time I posted was probably in June of last year or something, and I have zero plans to ever go on that again and post. But if you wanted to look through stuff, you could do that. And the funny thing is, you might need to double check this because I think it's at Ringaman, but I don't even know what my handle is on there. Otherwise, they could just go to my website, ashleyringaman.com, or email me.
Yeah.
Which is also ashleyringaman@gmail.com.
Boom. So easy.
Boom.
Okay, I'll put it
Super
in the description and everything so people can check it out. But thank you for sharing the
perfect.
story. And I know we've got at least one more juicy one that we will get to at some point. So maybe we'll bring you back for a second episode.
Okay, perfect. But yes, if anybody does have questions or is a designer or something related to that, I guess, that I could maybe be helpful with, I'd be happy to like chat with them through email or phone or whatever. So
wonderful. Thank you.
Here for you, peeps. Yep.